Look at that little guy trying to answer people's mugwort questions like he thinks he's grown. So back then I was answering those questions based solely on my own personal experience with mugwort, but now I have a lot more experience, a lot more research, and I've been speaking to all you guys online and learning a lot more since then. So I want to give some better answers and try to set the record straight. Also answer questions I've been getting a lot of. And this isn't going to just be the Mugwort channel. I'm going to do other things, but it's hot right now. People are looking it up. It's outperforming all the other videos. So first things first, the name Mugwort, mug and wort. I've heard different things, like wort means plant or herb. I've also heard that wort means good for. And I've heard that mug means literally a mug, like a beer mug, because mugwort used to be used to brew beer before hops, so they'd say it's good for the mugwort. But I've looked into that, and I believe that's false. Wort used to just mean plant, herb, root, something like that. And it was called mugwort originally, probably not because of a beer mug, but because of this word. It's M-U-C-G or M-Y-C-G. I don't know how it's pronounced, but it's Old English, and it meant like midge or gnat. So basically it meant like midge plant or gnat plant, and it was used as an insect repellent to prevent biting insects. So that's how it got its name, from the best of my knowledge. A question I get asked is, does mugwort have to be fresh, or does dry mugwort still work? And you know, on my channel I'm all about fresh mugwort, but that doesn't mean dry is completely useless. It's pretty useless to use dry mugwort for lucid dreaming because the monoterpenes have dissipated usually if you buy it from the herb store. But mugwort isn't just for lucid dreaming, it does other things, and there's heavier compounds in there that are still active even if it's been dried. So if you want to use it as an emmenagogue or a mild diuretic or a bitter tonic or a nervine, the dry mugwort will probably work. But if you want to use it for lucid dreaming, it's probably not going to work very well. And just to clarify, when I say dry mugwort, I mean the mugwort you get from the herb store that's been sitting around in storage for, years sometimes. But freshly dried mugwort that's only a few months old will work. One question I get asked almost more than any other is, can you vape it? And the thing is, there's not a lot of research on there, and I don't know how safe it is to say yes, like if it's something you should vape or if it's going to be too strong. Every plant is different, the environment's different. When you pick it during its life cycle, it's different. Some people are worried about thujone, which can be toxic. So I don't know how safe or effective it is to vape it, but chances are it's a lot more effective than smoking it. And the danger is that it's too effective, that it's way too strong. So I don't know, I've never done it, and I can't recommend anyone try it. And of course, it's not like there's a lot of information on that out there to research. But yeah, when you're smoking something like a cigarette, you are vaping it, essentially. The burning part, and I talked about this in another video, the stuff that's burning is basically being destroyed. It's the effective vaporizing temperature is just behind the ember, because there's this heat gradient. So it's really hot up here and room temperature back here, and somewhere along the line is the perfect vaporizing temperature, and that's where you're getting most of the effect of smoking something. And all the stuff that's actually burning is just kind of burning off and being destroyed. Some people have asked me how to preserve the terpenes through the winter, since mugwort's not available year-round most places, and I've tried to talk about that in my other video, and it's oil infusion, tincture, and salve are the most common ways, but people have been asking, can you freeze it? And I think you probably can. People freeze cannabis, and they call it fresh frozen. I think the same thing would work with mugwort, and you should probably experiment yourself and see if it's better to freeze dried mugwort or freeze fresh, wet, harvested mugwort. But I'd imagine you'd want to dry it at least a little bit and cure it a little bit before freezing it for the best flavor and effects overall. Another question people ask is, how long does the dried leaf stay good for? And probably a few months. It's another thing that it just depends on how it's stored. If you're keeping it in a cool, dark, dry environment, it'll probably last 3 to 6 months, and you'll start to notice a lot of diminishing returns after that point. But if you're not storing it properly, it can go moldy or just be ruined really quick. A few people have asked about fermenting it, if that would preserve it, or if that's a good thing to do with mugwort. And as I said in the beginning of the video, it was used to brew beer before hops became common. At least I'm pretty sure I said that. So yeah, you can ferment mugwort drinks. I've never done it, but I'd like to try, and I'll probably do that this year just to see what happens. But if the name of the channel, Alchemist Anonymous, isn't enough of a clue, I don't drink. I'm in recovery, so I can't play with that, but I can make it and let other people try it and see how they like it. So we've established mugwort is lipophilic, which means it's fat soluble, and that's why I used olive oil to make the oil infusion. And that has made some people ask, can you use other types of oil like coconut oil or MCT oil? And I am ashamed to admit I didn't think of MCT oil first. Once I saw that comment, I realized oh yeah, I should have used that. That would have been way better. So yeah, if it's a fatty oil, it'll work. It just has to be fatty. So coconut oil, olive oil, MCT oil, avocado oil, anything that has some fat in there will help extract the compounds from mugwort, but it's not the same compounds you're gonna get from tincturing an alcohol. Ethanol is an incredible solvent that just kind of aggressively extracts everything, and the fat, the oil infusions are going to be a little more mild and a narrower spectrum of things you can extract that way. When is the best harvest time is a common question, and the answer is traditionally people tend to pick it just before flowering or in the early flowering stages. Before that, when I started to see mugwort come up around here and I'd pick it and crush it up and smell it, I'm like, man, it looks like mugwort, but it doesn't smell like it. It seems like it develops its terpenes later on in the year, probably after it gets some sun exposure. And then after the sun comes out and it's been growing for a while, it'll kind of bolt almost like lettuce. It'll get tall and lanky, and it'll get really coarse, and the stem will become much woodier, and it'll create these big flowering tops, and there'll be leaf at the bottom, but the stem will be more bare. And the flowers are very aromatic, and I just started experimenting with those. I want to do a essential oil extraction of the flowers and see if it works better than the leaf. But yeah, you can use the flowers for things. They're a lot more aromatic. So I've used mugwort successfully even early in the season and late in the season. It will still work. But the prime time for the top quality artisanal stuff is going to be pre-flower to the early flowering stages. And it will grow at different rates throughout the year. So there are still some new young plants coming up around here, and there are some plants that have already started flowering and they're on their way out. So it's not like it's just one or the other. You can find both throughout the growing season. Probably the most common question is, what are the doses? Some people even been mad, writing aggressive, crazy comments that I haven't given exact doses in grams or ounces. And I've addressed this in every video. I can't tell you what the dosage is for you. So you have to figure that out on your own. And you do that by starting small and working your way up. And the very first thing you need to know is, are you pregnant and want to stay that way? Well, then don't use mugwort because it can cause miscarriage. You probably shouldn't be doing it if you're nursing. People worry about the thujone content, oh, if you have a seizure disorder, it's not right for you, or if you're allergic or sensitive to it. And if you don't know if you're allergic to mugwort, but you've had an allergy test, you probably know if you're allergic to ragweed or not. And it seems that people who are allergic to ragweed are likely to be allergic to mugwort. So if you're not allergic to ragweed, you're less likely to be allergic. So start with, like I said, small doses. If you're using dry mugwort from the herb store, most of the things people worry about, like the thujone, is already gone. If you're using fresh mugwort that actually has some potency and power to it, start with just a normal cup of tea, the normal amount you'd fit in a tea bag, and drink a little and see how you feel, and then drink a little more, see how you feel. And if you need more, add more, and if you have a bad reaction, just stop. So I can't tell you the right dose for you. No one can. I use 4 times the amount that my partner uses, and I've had people on here who can't take any because they're too sensitive to it. And I have a friend I met in Australia who just uses insane amounts. It's not one size fits all. Someone asked, should you use it every night or take breaks? I've used it for long periods of time every night, but I would say probably take some breaks. You know, maybe 3 to 5 nights in a row, take a week off, try it again. I actually don't use that much mugwort, even though I'm harvesting it and processing all these products. I don't drink tea every night or smoke it every day or anything like that. When I'm out harvesting it, I eat it, but I mostly don't use it that much anymore. People talk about combining it with other things for lucid dreaming, and I've definitely done that with great effect. I use blue lotus and Camellia zacatachichi, otherwise known as Mexican dream herb, and it worked very well. Eating it, drinking it, smoking it, and mixing everything together, and I had some crazy dreams. People will talk about other uses or ask what else it's used for besides lucid dreaming, and of course my focus is all on lucid dreaming, but I've learned a bit about the other effects like the emmenagogue, which means it kind of can kick off the menstrual cycle. It can also like relax the muscles. People have been saying they're using it as a topical pain reliever in salves for like sore muscles, or sticking in their shoes for long marches helps, they say. That's one of the oldest uses for mugwort. It does seem to be a mild diuretic. It's a nervine, which, you know, relaxes you. It's a bitter tonic, which is supposed to be good for your digestion. So there's a lot of things you can do with it, and I do talk about that a little bit more in the video, The Complete Way to Use Mugwort for Lucid Dreaming. I touch on those things a little, and I'll link it in the description. But if you're watching this, you've probably seen that one if you're a subscriber. Someone asked if the tincture could be used topically like the salve or the oil, and I don't really know why you would do that. If you have the tincture, just dilute it with some water and drink it. But if you want to take it topically, probably better to make an oil infusion and use just the oil, or turn it into a salve. And if you're going for like pain relief and inflammation, there's a lot of other herbs you can add to it, like plantain would be a good salve with mugwort. So someone asked, can you just eat it raw? And yeah, you can. You can also cook with it. It's used in culinary uses. Like you can use it in Asian cooking. They use it a lot apparently. Someone asked if there's a relationship between mugwort and astral projection or out-of-body experiences. And that really does just depend on the practitioner. And that leads us into our next question. Someone asked, is mugwort good for meditation and deepening a meditation practice? And I think it is. And if you're trying to have out-of-body experiences or astral projection, you're going to have some sort of meditation practice. So if it helps you, great, but nothing is necessary. All you need is yourself. But yeah, I think it would help. I think a lot of people, it would help. But I wouldn't do it for you. That's the thing, mugwort doesn't give you lucid dreams. It gives you more vivid dreams and better recall, but it doesn't mean you're going to be aware of the fact you're dreaming. So, you know, it really does depend on the practitioner. And the final and perhaps most important question is, can you put it in an avocado or banana smoothie? Or avocado and banana smoothie? Yeah. Gross. And I'm supposed to say like, comment, and subscribe and all that, because I guess if you don't say it, people don't do it, but hate saying it.